Well, we just talked about this with the team. Surviving that first game was kind of the key to the whole thing for us. The teams took turns being not so good the first game. First set, I should say, first set. And just stealing that one was an awfully big jolt of adrenaline. And I think that loosened up arms and got the serving going a little bit for us. St. Thomas, very good team, and we're real fortunate to come away with that one. We got some really good performances from a couple of key people, and that's gratifying.
Coach, you were down 13-8 in the first set, and you called a timeout. What was said in the huddle at that point?
Very clearly remembered that most of their points were our errors, but they were aggressive errors. Didn't have a problem with that. Our kids were trying to do all the right things. Maybe a lot of adrenaline going on, and serves were a little bit long. You know, we were hitting it a little bit out, but they were aggressive errors, so we didn't change anything. It's just keep going a little bit and make allowances for the adrenaline.
Coach, can you talk a little about Taylor? I mean, it seemed she didn't have the most points there, but it seemed like when you guys really needed a point or needed a key point, she came up big for you guys a little bit.
Yeah, and she was kind of the match in microcosm. Taylor, the first half of the first game was really tight. She was playing like a freshman. And then in the second half of the first game, she's just got a couple of cheap kills. They weren't thunderous Richter scale kind of kills, but it seemed to loosen that arm up a little bit. And the neat thing with Taylor is her hitting never affected her passing, and that's why she's there. She's in there for ball control. But yeah, sort of the key to the game is how Taylor went, so goes us.
Kristen, you had a big block in the second set when the set was tied at 18-all. Did you feel at that point that things kind of started to turn around at that point following that, and move the microphone over to you and that way you can put your comments?
I think each block kind of gets momentum for the team. It was a big thunderous block, which is nice, but and I think you kind of have to focus one point at a time. So after that block, you have to focus on the next point.
And Coach, what about Kristen? She had a .615 attack percentage in the first two sets. Was she kind of the glue, along with some other players you want to mention, as far as getting that match to that third set?
Yeah, when we get Kristen the ball, we're going to do well. And a couple of times, I'm sure Steph, that's what she was thinking. We got to get the ball to Kristen. And that just sort of settles things down, for sure.
Steph, I wanted to ask you a question also. The school, Juniata's made it's the 30th appearance in your quarterfinals, and at this point, is it something that's expected to get to this level? What kind of mindset do you all have as you make your way to this situation in the quarterfinals?
It's expected to a point, but it's something that we just want to work for, and we want to be here every year. Something we work hard for all year round just to get to this point. That's our ultimate goal, is to win it all. So it's expected to a point, but it's our decision, it's our goal to make it where we are now.
It's mixed emotions right now. Very proud of our group and what they've accomplished, and our first trip to the finals is important for us, but I think all of us feel like we left a little bit out there. We could have done a little bit more, and it always happens that way with losses, but I couldn't be more proud of our group. They fought as hard as they could, and especially our 7 seniors, and we're fortunate to have 2 of them with us today. So.
Coach, your team charged ahead 13-9 in the first set. You mentioned this is the school's first ever trip to the quarterfinals. What was the buzz in the huddle after they called timeout? What kind of feeling did your players express during that timeout when you get that early lead?
We really didn't look at the score because we knew Juniata's tough. So it doesn't matter if we're up by 8 or they're up by 8. We know that we got to finish out the match and we got to play every point tough. So the talk was just hey, we got to execute. Don't even look at the score. Got to keep working. And Juniata came up with some big digs and some big offensive plays. And they had a few more opportunities than we did. So,
Alicia, talk about throughout the match. You had that early lead. They ended up taking the first set, and you guys just kept battling back and forth. Talk about what you all were talking about during that process when you were just trying to find a way to get over that hump a little bit and get ahead.
Yeah, well, as Tang said, it was our first time here, so there's a lot of emotions to start out with, and everyone was really pumped, and I think we were just trying really hard to stay together, and that's what we were focusing on when we had our huddles and our timeouts, was just to make sure that throughout the whole match, no matter what happened, that we just had each other's backs and were there to support each other, whether we did good things or bad things.
Both those first two sets, it was very close, back and forth, not more than 3 points separated you guys most of the way, but towards the end they were able to pull it out. What do you think were the biggest differences in those closing points of the first two sets, especially?
I think when it got to 20 points, we didn't execute as well as we usually do. When we would get an opportunity, we didn't do what we needed to do in order to get a point. They're a tough team. They came out with some big plays and made some good hits. Their setter had a lot of dumps. We're not used to seeing that. So I think it was a combination of us not executing as hard as we needed to and them doing a great job of it.
They've been kind of a staple here. They've made the quarterfinals every single year. I mean, how much do you think experience played into this in a foreign environment for you guys, and how tough did that make it?
Oh, definitely. Being our first time here, it was kind of like we were all gaga yesterday over everything, and it was all a new experience. And for them, they've been here, they know what it's like, and it is a big deal. And I think that, like you said, a lot of emotions play into it. And being it was our first time, we were just feeling it out still, and they had experience on us.
Can you talk about the team's goals at the start of the season? As there's a large group of seniors on this squad, what kind of things were discussed? And obviously, I would imagine you've met all, if not all of them, I guess most of your goals. Talk about what you had in mind and your seniors to start the season.
Well, our main goal was to just play hard and play together, and winning the regional championship was a big goal. And then coming here was obviously a big goal, and we made it, so it's good.
Talk about the elation of that win to get you here, to get past, because it's been a very successful program, just hadn't been able to get to that quarterfinal. Talk about the emotions after you were able to get that win to come here.
Well, we had lost to St. Olaf 2 times in the season in the conference, and then we just pushed harder in that game and came out with a win.
How much different was the environment here? I mean, it was a far cry from the regional championship match where hundreds of people, when you guys were rallying, you were really rallying with the crowd. How much different was it here with the atmosphere where it wasn't as much riding the crowd so much as you guys just on your own?
Well, we still had fans here, but we don't really need fans to get riled up, I guess. We just need to get pumped up on our own, and we did. Not today, but
our home fans did a great job.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Tang, I was going to ask you about your family fled Vietnam in 1975. I don't know if a lot of people know this. So talk about that early on in your childhood and to this point, the trip that you've had to take that has put you in this spot here.
Like I tell our girls, it's just volleyball. If the worst thing in your life happens that you lose a match, you have a pretty good life. We try to keep everything in perspective, and for my parents to have the courage to up and leave their country, while I was 5 months old, that's the toughest thing that I can't even imagine to do. So when we coach our girls and keep everything in perspective, yeah, it hurts to lose, but like Coach Clemens said, champions are already determined before we step on the court, and we want to be not only the best on the court, but the best in life, and just carry ourselves that way. And my parents kind of instilled that through me in that whole experience. So it's definitely helped in my coaching, and I don't get upset at our girls as much. And like I told them, I love them to death, and I would never trade them for any other team in the world.
Even though